Hello, serious writers. It is August 7th, 2024. Welcome to Serious Writer Club. We are here for industry updates for August of 2024. What's going on in the industry? I actually got an interesting conversation we can have today about something that's going on that I've been working on literally up until this call. I was on a call about this issue in the industry. So I'll talk you through what that is and why that matters. And then if you have any questions, throw them in the chat. I need to pull up the chat. And last week we had a great time. I think we had like 21 people on live last week. It was wild. So it's a good time. So it was an interesting time of answering questions. You didn't watch it, go back and watch it. Those of you who are live got their specific questions answered. It was good. So it's good free advice for you to come and just ask all your questions, and we'll tell you what we think, the honest truth of what we actually believe, not somebody on a stage trying to convince you of something, but literally we'll just tell you, hey, this is what we would tell ourselves or our clients. And so hopefully that's helpful to you. Yeah. So Bethany, it was good. I had a good time. We answered a lot of questions. It went long last week. You probably noticed that when you saw the video. So there was a lot of questions. I just kept going. And it was fine. I think it was an hour and 15 minutes, but we had a good time.
That's good. Well, and we have 5 Wednesdays in August too, so we'll be able to do that again. And I like that we can do like a 5th Wednesday where we can open it to everybody. And so that was super fun. Like, I wish I could have been here, but I do hope.
Yeah, if you're watching this and you watch it later, you want to try to catch that one live if you have questions, or you can submit questions. I guess if you'd like to submit questions, we'll tackle them for you. That way you can go back and watch the replay. It was nice when people are live though, because we get to do follow-ups like, hey, here's the answer, but if you follow up and tell me more, maybe I can give you a better, more specific answer. And so that's the case, and that was how a lot of it went down. So I enjoyed it. But let me tell you what's going on.
Let's hear it.
I was just talking to an author because their publisher had come back to them and said, hey, we would like to include your books in Amazon's new AI reader program where the voiceover is AI. So like, and what do you think? And so of course my client did the right thing. So let me talk to my agent. I'll get back with you. So we were just talking about it, and there's some real problems with it. There's some potential wins with it. And so we probably should talk through we've talked through a lot about AI as it comes to like you writing your book or you editing your book. I think editing AI is generally accepted. Like that's like Grammarly and programs like that, spell checkers are AI. We've had AI in the industry for a while. The AI programs that now can write books, and they actually write some pretty decent text. Maybe not great books, but they're really good at putting text on page. You give them very specific guidelines, you can actually put together like short stories are coming out really well. So like AI is actually, it's coming together. It's growing pretty quickly, its capabilities. But now, and we've had AI illustrations, so we've talked about that. Like illustration programs are getting better and better by the week. It's insane. But now it comes to people who read books and do the narrative of books on things like Audible, and the voice talents are now, there are AI programs that are doing that. And yeah, so before I tell you what I said, Beth,
Okay.
when you hear publishers are doing this, what do you think? I mean, publishers are doing it. Amazon is doing it, and Amazon is reaching out to publishers saying, "Let us use AI for your books." What are your thoughts?
Okay, so I think that for publishers or for Amazon, they should be using people. They have enough money and they have enough money to do this.
Right.
The only place where I think, and I'm not even sure what I think about this, I understand the appeal for people who have like a smaller budget and maybe don't have a publisher behind them to be able to get an audiobook out. That sounds pretty good. I understand how that's appealing there. On the publishing side, though, I don't know that I agree with it. But again, I haven't dug into it like you have, so I'm not sure what you're going to say.
No, I mean, I've just been looking into it. I mean, I pay attention. So, right. Like AI, I mean, this is a thing. I have programs that read to me in AI. I have like on my computer, I'll have like, if I'm busy, I can actually click a button and my computer will read to me whatever's on my email, whatever's whatever. So like I can actually do things to multitasking. but it doesn't always sound right, right? It's like, what is that word? What did they say? And then sometimes you gotta like, I go and like stop and figure out what they actually just said because they don't always. So these generative voices are a thing. I have a program that I bought for the year for my kids so they could like schoolwork, whatever. And like I can like Tom Cruise will read to them, like LeBron James will read to them, like Mr. Beast will read to them. Like they have all these AI generated voices, and so they've basically got these famous people to give them the rights to their voices, and so you can actually have it read in these famous people's voices. The problem is there's just it's not perfect, and you kind of got to get used to it. And I think people do get used to it. Um, for me, it's more of a work production thing and try to speed up my processes. This is more of an entertainment thing. So that's the question. Like, is it is it entertaining to listen to a computer read you a novel? And like that's where I don't know. That's where maybe you can pitch in and chat if you have an opinion, and I'd like to know. Um, I still won't tell you yet what I'm, doing, but like even Amazon, they have different languages that they have. Like text to speech has been so Amazon has had text to speech for a while that you could purchase and use when it doesn't come to their like book reading. Like you could do like um you could hire Amazon and pay for their program to read stuff outside of Amazon. Now they're doing this for like narration of books. And so, because they had Amazon Polly, which was a developer program you could use to do a lot of different things. And they're bilingual, they'll do different languages. You can set voice speed. But now this new program is about AI on books. And so I haven't seen a lot on, I think this is pretty new that they're doing this engine now for novels. And I'm just trying to get feedback and what people think. Like my worry is like someone's gonna find out this author did this and they're gonna get on Twitter and they're gonna make them the example to the community of you're a turncoat from the human race. And like so that's kind of where I share this with my author. There's the risk that by doing this, you will potentially alienate the yourself from a community which is kind of anti AI at the moment because of what AI is doing. So that's kind of my feedback. Um, like in May, there was an article about 40,000 AI narrated books that flooded Audible, and the problem is it's really a change. Like there's a lot of books now on Audible that are AI, and so I don't know where do you think it's going to fall?
I don't know, because I think we're still in the infancy of it, really, about what this is going to become. And I think the voices are just going to get better and better and better. So I think that we'll see a shift as that happens. What's interesting though is a conversation I had a year ago, I think, with people who listen to a lot of audiobooks, and they mentioned that they follow the narrator. And I thought that was pretty interesting, kind of how people follow authors. But in the car on our trip, this 3,200 miles we had to do, we had a rule, I guess, Justin and I, whoever drove got to pick the audiobook. And so we were listening to different audiobooks depending on who was driving. And I was going into the library and trying to, download some. And the narrator for one of them was so bad. We turned it off probably in the first like 2 minutes of the book. And I was like, okay, this is crazy how important the narrator was, because the narrator of the other book was fantastic. And I found myself thinking, I want to go see what other books she has narrated because she was so spectacular. And so I thought, okay, this is interesting that there's this. I'm new to this, more listening to audiobooks, but how the narrator really can create such a following.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, okay, so I'll add to this dilemma. Okay. So this is one author has been offered by a company to do two books with Amazon's AI. Another author that I'm working with is working with a production studio for a 4-book series, and it's going to be $10,000 to $20,000 out of pocket for my author to do the audio with the studio. So they're like, yeah, we want to do the split royalty rights where the author gets 50% of revenue, but he's got to pay $10,000 to $20,000 and half of the production cost up front.
Whoa.
And I'm like, they're doing this with tons of authors. And I'm like, my author's like, I don't have that kind of money. So And I'm like, yeah, I wasn't going to recommend you do this. And so I went back to and said, no deal. This guy sold, 1.5 million books. He's not interested. Like if you want him, you need to sign a royalty based deal. And they're like, oh, we're working on 400 books right now. So like you can wait a year or so. And I'm like, okay, we're going to go to a different company. Next thing you know, we're going to give him this royalty and we're going to pay him this much per book. So I was like, oh, well, your tune changed once I told you we weren't going to do that. But the issue was my author does not want AI. He will not do AI. And he doesn't even like the human voices that the last company used on his books and will not. He wants full control of approving the reader because the reader matters when you're selling a book. I mean, when I go and listen to an audiobook, I listen to the sample. If I don't like the reader, I'm out. It doesn't matter if I like the book. The reader's not good. I don't want to listen to that reader for,
Mhm.
sometimes 14 hours.
Yeah.
Like you become like best friends at the end of it. I don't, that's more than I talk to my wife in a year. No, I'm just kidding. So she'll probably tell you that's the case. So like ultimately, like these things matter. So this is the wild, wild west of AI with everything, but this is a new one. And let me just tell you what happened. So to add to this dilemma, HarperCollins has inked a deal with and other major publishers have inked deals with AI voice companies already. Apple has already inked a deal with audiobook companies that use AI. And the problem was, it came out earlier this year that Apple was using famous actors' voices to read books, and the actors didn't know.
Ooh.
But the actors had signed contracts with Apple that gave them the rights to use their voices. So this has been like drama. And so lawsuits will come, but ultimately, even with the lawsuits, the best I've seen, I think you've seen this too, is that the AI companies aren't going to lose. They're not going to get shut down. It's going to continue to go. So like, you might as well just get ready. AI's here. And then I talked to a client today, literally on the phone, who's like, I'm at a conference for teachers right now because she's a teacher. And she's like, we're in a session about AI, and they're basically saying AI's here to stay. We better figure out how to embrace it instead of try to fight it. Like, cause like they were trying to fight it and keep out schools, and like people are going to use AI. You better figure out how to create a world where like
Mhm.
kids are learning about AI, how to maximize AI, because like the reality is it's here to stay and you can't shut it down. And it's just getting smarter and smarter and smarter.
Yeah.
So we're not going to be able to fight where it's going. And it's a sci-fi thing, but we're living the sci-fi books now where AI is getting so smart so fast. It's ridiculous. Um, so it's just kind of where we're at. And I think when it comes to the books, we're going to land on probably, I think this author's going to land on, she's going to do it because the sales haven't been where she needs them to be. And so ultimately, I think she's going to take the risk
Mm.
of potentially being the black sheep in the industry for the chance to get sales, because her book has done really well on Kindle Unlimited. It just hasn't done well in physical copies. So if the AI gets downloaded, then that's more opportunities to make money. And for her, it's a better win. But I tend to agree with that. My worry is we're in this wild, wild west where if someone gets mad, they can review bomb your book. I
Yeah.
don't want her to be review bombed. I think this is going to become a standard. I really think you're going to AI is the future on Amazon, truthfully, because Amazon is going to make a lot more money using their own AI voices to read books. And so they're going to make that more searchable. Apple's go do the same thing. They can cut out people who get a piece of the pie. And if they can cut out people who get a piece of pie, there's a lot more revenue for Amazon and Apple, companies like that. At the end of the day, that's going to win. There's a famous voice narrator. His name is Ramon de Acampo, and like there was a text going back in May when all these things were coming out, and he basically was like basically putting in these companies on blast and says like you need to require people need to go on and try to force Amazon and these are the companies to put a filter for AI and non-AI narrated books, because
Mhm.
right now you have no idea. There is no way to tell. There is no filter that exists. And so what is going to push them out of jobs is like if there is a filter, then you can go and exclusively look for human read books. If there's not, you just got to find them. And I think when you're having 40,000 books get dumped in a month that are AI read, you're going to have way more books that are in the market that are AI read. It's going to be hard to find human read books. So just to be aware, um, this is a saga right now. I've been dealing with this in different ways. Um, so that's just something that you need to be aware of. But that's what's going on in the industry. This is like a real time thing, AI. and AI narration is huge. So um, I don't know. We didn't have anybody's opinion in the comments, so I don't think anybody has an opinion. So,
Yeah, Sandra said iRobot is
oh,
coming.
say this is iRobot's coming. I see that there.
And then
Yeah,
Melissa mentioned how that's so expensive to, and that's a lot of risk to put up for
yeah, it
royalty.
is. And ultimately, I think this one reader said it took 52 minutes to do an entire book in AI narration and get it on Amazon. And to do that in real time, it could take 14 hours just to read the book, not taking into account they have to edit
Edit.
every word that's done. Like they read a line, then they have to go back and read the line over again. If there's any mistakes, they have to read it. It can take 3 or 4 times as many hours to do it on top of that. So you're talking a process of 30, 40, maybe 100, 120 hours to do a book. And then to pay someone to do that, even if you pay them $50 an hour, $100 an hour, you're talking thousands of dollars to get your book done in audio. And that's why so few have high quality narrators. And then when you can go for $0 for just giving Amazon more percentage of your royalties and your revenue, you can get it done in an hour and get it out. I think you're going to see that the majority of authors are going to choose to do this.
It'll be interesting too to see how the market responds and if there's going to be like an initial backlash, or if it indicates that readers don't care, or if it shows that readers are willing to pay a premium for the human voice versus the AI, and we may see differences in royalties or any something in the contract phase. And what's interesting is that this is coming about with the audiobooks, because there's still publishers who fight agents on AI contract clauses, even the big ones. It's like even trying to get them to put something in there to protect the author is such a fight. Even some of the basic things you would expect
Right.
to be in there, like this AI battle is just getting started, probably.
I mean, I'm looking for like anything that would tell us like how things are going. And this is such a new push. Like there's not really anything about it. That like May article is kind of the thing. There's not a lot. We're still where everything's coming out. Like this fight is happening right now. This issue, like we're living in the middle of it. So it's just something to be aware of. Like by the time, if you're writing a book now, starting a book, by the time you write the book and finish it, this probably will have a winner. I'm guessing the winner is going to be AI narration. It's going to take a huge chunk of the market. And I like you and I both agree. There's always going to be a premium for human read, human designed, human written things. I think people are just going to be human first. So, um, but there are going to be other people who just don't care. They're going to be like, kids are going to grow up today hearing AI to the point of when they're in 5, 10, 20 years when they're buying books, they're going to be so used to AI voices reading stuff. They're not going to care. I just don't think
There is
I
that.
can see what's happened to my kids in technology. They don't care about things or see things the way I see them because they've had technology their whole life. So they just, I think that in 10 years, this is going to be a non-issue. No one's going to care about AI narration. I think you're going to have a hard time. A lot of the, a lot of people who make money at AI narration who are not especially skilled at it or not great are going to be pushed out of this industry, and you're going to be left with the premium people, and they're going to get paid premium. So I think that's going to be where this goes. And so,
Sandra had a
can,
question.
can you do your book audio? Yeah, every time I've heard somebody do it, for the most part, it's bad because you can get away with it for that nonfiction book or a short book. It's really hard to do that for 100,000 words and do it right and do it well without mistakes. Um, and because you often, what I found is people who read their own books, they skip words because they wrote it, so they don't think about. They skip over and gloss over things, and they read too fast, they read too slow because they know where things are going. And I find that professionals look at it different. And so I think if you're doing nonfiction, yeah, I think nonfiction I've seen it done successfully. Fiction, I've not seen someone read their fiction successfully yet, and it sell well. I've not. I don't know. Have you seen that yet? Where a
I have
fiction
not
author
really
has written
been
a book?
paying attention to that. Like I said, the one narrator was amazing, and then the other one, it was like 2 minutes, we were out of the book because it was just
Right.
couldn't do it. And I don't know
Yeah.
if they're reading their book or not.
A picture book, yeah, but I don't know. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people. I don't know anybody who's buying audio to picture books. Um, I don't know. It's expensive thing to do for for a short read. Um, and I almost think that you're paying a lot for a short book anyways. You the narration should probably come with it. So, um, but like I don't know, like I don't see any of that happening in the picture book market right now.
When I was little, they had cassette tapes where it would play the picture books. My mom says has somehow like that's I was learning to read, like fall, it had like that.
Yep.
Do you remember those like have that sparkle at the end of the thing, which meant turn the
Yeah, they
page?
still have those from time to
Yeah,
time. Yeah, those are
that brought
those are
for
few and
memory.
far between. They don't have cassettes now; they just have digital. You can press a button, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man.
I don't see a lot of audiobooks doing in the children's space. Yeah.
Speaking of the children's space, SEL is still not coming back yet. So I'm still seeing editors ask for kind of what we've been talking about for the last while, humor, character-driven
Right.
series. That is still the call of the day over in picture book space.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
I've been shopping some things, and yeah, I've been shopping something I thought would get an easy contract, and it's not. So it's got great art, it's got a great story. The problem is it's in a space that's really crowded, so they're looking for the next big thing. And although my authors did a great job, I don't know that publishers see what they see, and so we're kind of trying to look at that again, see maybe they need to submit a different version of it and go for there.
It's tough. I mean, books are still getting sold. I don't want to say that, but um, I had a
Yeah.
house editor big house, send over their manuscript wish list. And I was so sad because one thing that they're looking for, and we know this to be true, but is author illustrators, someone who can do both. And it's hard when you have text-based only picture book authors as clients. So
I have a good one. So
oh
I have a
good.
good one. We'll talk about it. Yeah. She's actually a great illustrator. So it's hard though, but like you don't have many. And ultimately they often the ones that do the illustrations so slowly. They have to be able to do it at a very do it at a pace to make a living off of it. That's not normally what a lot of the ones that we see come through do. They usually are a writer first and just can do some great illustrations, so it takes a very long time. Doing both with speed and haste is what's necessary, and it's just a small portion of illustrators that can pull that off. That's why not everybody's a published author illustrator. There's very few, and you usually know them their household names because it's like Olympic medalists. There's not that many people in the world that can run at that speed, right? And so when they do, you know about them. When authors are able to be capable of both writing and illustrating at a high level, you know their names, their household names. So I think that's one of the things that I've noticed is like when I submit stuff and the publisher's like, well, how long will it take to get this book complete? I go back to the author like, yeah, I need 2 years to finish this. They're going to give you 3 months. So maybe 6. You're not getting 2 years. Can you get it done? Probably not. Well, then you can't illustrate your own books at that point. That's the hard part.
I have some positive news. I think I'm going to try to have my client on as a guest to kind of talk through the process. So this is relative to picture books. But while I was gone, she sent me a screenshot of an email her editor had sent her. And she and the acquiring editor, and this is the Penguin publisher imprint
Right.
for picture books, they had made like, I think maybe 2 or 3 tweaks to the manuscript. And they were tiny, they're good. But the editor had said, the manuscript is now with the copy editor. And she said the copy editor is super tough and had one edit. She said, I've never had her come back with just one change. And the change was so tiny. It was like I think it was a dialogue tag that they took out. It was so small. And so she was praising my author for that. And I was like, oh my gosh. But my author has said, I think this book she started this book maybe not a decade ago, but years ago. And it has been worked and worked and worked over the years. So I think it'd be cool to have her come on and talk about the process of that and shrinking that story into what it is. And it is a humor, character-driven, possible series. It's a standalone under the contract, but it's funny and the editor loved it. So I don't know. I think that would be fun. But yeah, I was so proud. I was so proud
That's awesome
to get that feedback. So I think
yeah.
she might be the tap on here.
That's great. I mean, and like I told people last week, we did kind of a news strip day a little bit last week that it's summer, so things are slow. People on vacation.
Yeah.
I submitted. I haven't told you this, but I submitted to a publisher, and I'm like, I need to hear back in 2 weeks. I'm like, no, we need 8 weeks. She's like, just everybody's out, so we literally need 8 weeks right now to look at a book. I'm like, okay, you can have 8 weeks. She's like, if you don't want 8 weeks, we're no. I'm like, no, you can have 8 weeks. It's no big deal.
Oh,
So
not for a
it's
not.
summer.
I'm sorry. I know my face was like surprised. I thought you might take thinking like you had a contract offer and you were letting them know and they needed 8 weeks.
No,
I was like,
I was
what?
hoping to get a quick response from a few publishers because I felt we would get a contract offer. So like, but ultimately everybody said the same thing. No, we don't have anybody here. So I got like, yeah, take 8 weeks. It's no big deal. So
One of the editors is at 12 to 14 weeks. And then she said, if I get back to you sooner, even if it's a pass, there was something really good there that made me look at it.
yeah, I
It's
mean
just
it's slow right now because people can't even get their teams together to do to up board. So
the out of
that's
office messages that I have gotten over the past probably 3 or 4 weeks has been insane.
yeah. Well, the nice thing in about 2 weeks, those are going to stop. So I look forward to the end of August because that's when they kind of come back together. And I'm going to Nashville in 2 weeks, so for
Oh,
a
fun.
conference. So I won't be here on a Wednesday because I'll be in Nashville researching. I'm meeting with some publishers. I'm meeting with HarperCollins down there, so I'll have information from that meeting and meeting with B&H and gonna meet up with a client. So if you're in Nashville and you want to meet up, let me know. I'm gonna go down. I've never been to Broadway, Bethany, down in Nashville, so I'm gonna go to Broadway on Wednesday, August 21st. So if you
That was
want to
fun.
come hang out with me. I'm going to Broadway after I go to HarperCollins. So you'll be the first to hear about HarperCollins. So,
um,
but I'm going.
what conference is it?
I'm going to Killer Nashville.
Oh yeah, I knew that was
Yeah,
on your
Killer
list.
Conference. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I had a call. I had two calls last week. One was with the HarperCollins editor at Little Brown, and it was fantastic. And then also had a phone call with the editor over Chosen Books over at Baker. And so we talked about picture books and we talked about adult nonfiction in the religious market. Those are the two different houses. And on the nonfiction religious market side, talked a little bit about AI and like she was asking from the agent's perspective, what do we think about it? And then I got to hear her talking about AI from the editorial perspective, like what is appropriate, what are they able to use in terms of like marketing or for emails that doesn't like violate the contract or what they're working with the author. So it was interesting that these are all conversations that publishers are having. I think sometimes we say, oh, the publisher's just going to keep all the rights. But listening to her, they're very much trying to figure out like what is the best way to move forward with this and how do we make
Right.
things, right? And then when it comes to marketing, because nonfiction equals marketing all the time, email and speaking. And that is across the board. Every nonfiction editor that I have talked to, it's always come down to those two things that they are looking for very specifically: your own audience and having a way to like sell books in the back of the room or online, some sort of distribution model. And then
Right.
for fiction, making sure that you have a way to engage readers about books. Like, so having like
Right.
being a reader based account is what you want to think of versus being a writer account where you're attracting writers. You want to be attracting readers just like you would see on Book Talk or on Bookstagram. So I
Right.
highly encourage you to be doing that because that is what they're looking for. And they're looking for engagement rates, which we've talked about all the time, but I'm just reiterating because she said it again and mentioned that again. They don't like, it's not so much the following numbers as it is how many people are actually commenting and responding or liking all of those metrics on the post. That's what they're really looking at,
Right.
which are all
No, I
things
mean, I think that's
forever.
something we've been saying. That's something we've been saying for a while, right? So,
Yep. It's always nice to have it reiterated though, like just like, okay, this is still the best practice.
yep. No, they want people who are going to buy the books. That's what that's what they want. That's what they're always going to want. They don't want other writers. I mean, writers go to writers conferences and build a following of writers who don't buy books. So, so you want readers. So you got to find readers. You got to get in front of readers. That's the key, and that's hard, but you got to figure it out. Like people do all the time, and those people that do, they use things like Book Talk. They use Instagram. They use ways to get in front of readers. and gain a following. And like one post can change your whole career. It can. So I did some research and I did find that what we are talking about on Amazon is the KDP, which is Kindle Unlimited, as a invite only beta for audiobooks. And authors can, um, which means you can choose which books you want, but they have to invite you. My author has like 4,500 books downloaded on Kindle, so that's why in Kindle Unlimited. So that's why she got invited. So that means people are reading the book and it's doing well in that regard. And so they're like, "Hey, do you want an AI voice talent?" And you can set a book for $3.99 to $14.99 and receive a 40% royalty. Yeah, that's a high royalty because normally it's 25%. And now 40% there, that's the sweet pot because like, but you gotta think there's nobody to pay on their end of it. It used to be that the ACX who does all this would have to pay a narrator also.
Right.
Now they don't have to pay a narrator. They don't have to give them any part of the deal. They have to pay them up front. They don't have to give them a part of the royalty. So now Amazon's going to get 60% of your audio and you're going to get 40. You're going to get a bigger share, but they're going to also get a bigger share. So and they're cutting out a whole industry. So that's something to be aware of as well. But that's where things are going to go. And books that are going to be in Kindle are mostly going to be, I think, in the future, digital Amazon audio AI books. So
It'll be interesting to see how the narrators respond to this and like what they're saying.
oh, they're not happy. I mean, they're not happy, but there's nothing they can do about it. Like
Well, I know they're not
Amazon
now, but
controls the
like
workload.
as we go on, just to see if the shift is, or if they're going to start charging more of a premium, and if that's going to hurt them because they're just going to say no, we don't need it, or I don't know. I don't know where this is going to end up.
Yeah,
It's not going away. That's what, like you said, that's the thing. It's like when people fought different social media platforms for so
yeah.
long, and like, not gonna, it's like it's never going away, or at least that platform might go away, but the model isn't.
And here's why they're doing it. So Amazon is doing this because only 4% of self-published books on Kindle Unlimited have an audiobook. So if they can get 96% of people, they can just get a large percentage of them to put an audiobook in, and then they can take all of that audiobook traffic. I mean, they can make billions of dollars over the years on this. I mean, they'll make tens of millions and they'll start making hundreds of millions. And I mean, because you got to think how many books are in Kindle Unlimited? There's hundreds of thousands. So just getting those books at $14.99, $3.99, whatever it is, there's so much money on the table for Amazon to do this. And when it comes to money, that's what's going to control the market. And so we just have to be aware of like you need to know the conversation. If you've got self-published books and you're doing well on Kindle and they offer you, you need to think long and hard about it. I'm not saying don't do it. It might be the right thing. I mean, the goal is if you want to make money, you got to sell. The only way to sell to Kindle Unlimited through their audio program, then do it, make the money. So, but yeah.
We're getting close to the end of time. Like if anyone's got any questions, it doesn't have to be about AI. Um, Go ahead and throw them.
While we're waiting for any final questions, I will say that the Copyright Office also this month created the U.S. Copyright Office is dealing with AI, right? So they've got a problem, and a lot of it has to do with AI and deep fakes, where like people will make a video of like the president or somebody saying something crazy, and you can't tell the difference. I mean, you really can't with these deep fakes. You have to intimately go frame by frame to see if it's fake content. Like it's hard to know, or you had to see the original content. And so the name of the act that they're trying to get put forward through Congress is the No Fakes Act. Nurture originals, foster art, and keep entertainment safe. The No Fakes Act. I love the name of it. I just, but it goes through political arenas, it goes through celebrities, it goes through social media, it goes for authors. Like there is this push that we have original works, and original works are the things that are going to be able to be copyrighted, not AI works, at least at this point. But I think within 5 years, you're going to see that they're going to start copyrighting AI work. So, yeah,
Which
I
is
think it's coming. Yeah. So other than that, I mean, sales are good. The industry hasn't tanked or anything. Like, it's still doing good. Like, it's just slow. So I would say, as of September, if you're working and you're sending stuff out, get it out. Um, get it out to agents, get it out to editors. Um, you know, get your stuff out. That's always an important thing to do. Like that's what we're going to be doing on this end. So that's kind of where things are going for us. Like I'm just kind of in a holding pattern. It stayed pretty strong all into summer, but I hit mid July, and normally things die down in June. But it was mid July before things died down for me until I hit the wall of auto replies. Um, so I don't know if that means we're going to see a later return to work for a lot of these people or what, but yeah, it's been a good summer. It's been a good year. So excited about the fall.
It is good. I know in the YA fantasy space, I think that's mostly where I've seen these deals. That there's been they're not deals on Publishers Marketplace yet, but some of my agent colleagues have received a couple 6-figure offers over in that space. So, and they're mostly doing like fantasy general market, probably YA,
Right.
maybe new adult or coming or moving into adult. So that space is kind of really kicking.
Yep.
So, and we've seen that from all the romantasy stuff, which still doesn't seem to have died down, even though I think editors are
I think they got a lot of submissions in a short amount of time, which is what
there's
they
a
want.
lot. And it's so subjective too. Like, is it romantasy or is it a fantasy with romantic elements? You know, which one and which way are they looking at it? So I have one that I'm shopping right now, but that's what I tell them in my opening letter to them and my query letter to the editor is this is a romantasy, or if you're tired of romantasy, it is a fantasy with romantic elements, your choice. I say that in
Right.
my opening because I just want them to know, like, we're not pigeonholed here if you're
Yeah.
over that.
I
So
will say that some of the things that also frustrate me in the industry right now is the AI search engines. Like Facebook has it.
I hate it.
Audible is now doing it. Like I just noticed this the other day, we had 7 credits, and like, oh my goodness, now Audible has AI search, and like I don't want anything they ever tell me I want. I don't like. I hate it with a passion. So I think that's a cancer right now. AI search, I hate it. So in the industry, just in general, on every platform, it seems to be a thing, and you know, I'm ready for that to go away. I don't think it's going to, but I wish it would. Yeah, so I mean, that's the news right now in the industry. Like, there's not been a lot of sales news. There's not been a lot of numbers news. It's really been just kind of like in this slow summer. It's kind of been like this idea. The AI news has been the news. So yeah, something to be aware of, and those are some things. And I think even with the market crashing, that didn't really affect books because books ultimately did pretty good. I will say though that last year they did find out there was a recent report coming out that like graphics novels and comic books fell last year heavily, like 7%, which is that's a lot. And I felt that because like when I put out graphic novels and last year, this year it's been like yeah. Where it was like, oh yeah, send me every graphic novel you have, like, and I can tell why, like the sales have slowed in that. But religious books are up significantly in the first half of the year. So, but 12%, it's a lot, but only for the biggest names. And a lot of that has to do with Bibles and the big
Mhm.
names. So, yeah, that fuels that growth because like Walmart, Target has carrying a very limited amount of religious books. They're all the same books, and those books are selling more because they dominate the shelf. So the rich are getting richer in the
Mhm.
religious space. But that's the news update. We'll have more in a month. By the time we get to do this again, we should be back to people are acquiring, and hopefully at the end of this month. So it'll be good. I'll have some information at last one. So you might want to do question and answers while I'm gone, and we can that last month. I'll have a lot. Last week of the month, I'll
Oh,
have a lot to share. So
pull in our open. What day are you gone?
I'm gone the 21st. I'll
Okay.
be I'll be in the airplane heading to Nashville, but I'll have a lot to say after that because I'll be meeting with multiple houses and I'll have a whole weekend of conference. So lots of
Oh,
new. That'll be all.
that will be perfect. I have a call coming up with an independent publisher, and they cover a gamut of genres. So I'm super excited to be connecting with them. So
Cool.
I'll have
Awesome.
one editor call, looks like this month, to
Great.
share. Okay, this sounds great. We'll get that schedule sent out too. And like we mentioned, um, no, that's it. I
Yeah.
need
Well,
I
great.
need to dig
Well,
through email.
things are good. Get your books out. Get them. get your writing done. You know, if you haven't been writing this summer, start writing. Start writing. Get back to it, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Oh, and yes, Melissa, the conference is coming up in September. We are a month away. Super excited. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.